Most people think Ozempic works simply because it is a powerful drug, a weekly injection, a medical shortcut, something artificial that forces weight loss to happen. But that belief misses the most important part of the story. The real power behind Ozempic does not come from the needle. It comes from a hormone that already exists inside your body. That hormone is called GLP-1. GLP-1 controls hunger. It slows digestion. It tells your brain when you have had enough food. Ozempic does not invent this effect. It copies it. It amplifies a natural signal that your body was designed to use long before modern medicine existed. Here is the surprising part. This hormone is not rare, it is not broken, and it is not exclusive to people on medication. Your body produces GLP-1 every single day. The problem is that modern habits silence it: fast eating, processed foods, poor sleep, constant insulin spikes. All of these weaken the signal that tells your brain to stop eating. In this video, you are going to learn how that happens. You will learn why appetite feels uncontrollable for so many people, even when calories are reduced. You will learn why some people feel full quickly, while others never do. And most importantly, you will learn how science shows that specific daily habits can support the same biological pathways that Ozempic targets. Not supplements, not miracle foods, not extreme routines, real mechanisms, real biology, explained clearly. Most videos online stop at surface level advice. Eat less, move more, use willpower. That advice fails because it ignores hormones. This video does not. We will break down the lesser-known role of GLP-1 in appetite control. We will explain how your gut, your brain, and your insulin levels communicate. And we will show how small changes can restore signals that many people have lost without realizing it. There is also an important truth that rarely gets discussed. Ozempic works quickly because it forces the signal. Natural methods work differently. They are slower, gentler, but when done correctly, they can change how hunger feels on a daily basis. That difference matters, especially for people who want long-term control, not short-term suppression. By the end of this video, you will understand 5 science-backed ways to support the Ozempic effect naturally. You will know which habits actually increase GLP-1 activity and which popular tips do nothing at all. You will also understand why timing, sleep, and eating speed matter just as much as food choices. This is not about replacing medication. It is about understanding the system. When you understand the system, your choices become easier, hunger becomes quieter, and food stops feeling like a constant battle. Stay until the end because the final takeaway ties everything together. Most people focus on one habit and miss the bigger picture. That mistake is why results fade. The last section explains how these methods work together and why consistency matters more than intensity. If you are tired of confusing health advice, exaggerated claims, and shallow explanations, you are in the right place. This channel focuses on clear, science-based health information without hype. We explain how the body actually works, using simple language that makes sense. Welcome to the channel. If you value evidence over trends and understanding over shortcuts, subscribe now and stay with us. Let us begin. Ozempic works in very specific ways, and none of them are random. At its core, the so-called Ozempic effect comes down to 3 biological actions that happen inside the body. First, digestion slows. Food stays in the stomach longer, which means the body releases energy at a steadier pace. This delay sends a strong signal of fullness to the brain. Hunger does not rise as quickly, and portions naturally become smaller without forcing restraint. Second, hunger signals themselves are reduced. The brain receives fewer messages that say it is time to eat again. This is not about suppressing appetite through stress or stimulation. It is a hormonal signal that gently lowers the drive to keep eating. When this signal is strong, cravings lose their urgency and food noise becomes quieter throughout the day. Third, blood sugar control improves. As digestion slows and hunger signals calm down, glucose enters the bloodstream more gradually. Insulin responses become smoother. Energy levels feel more stable. This stability plays a key role in appetite regulation because sharp blood sugar swings often trigger intense hunger. All three of these effects come from GLP-1 activity. GLP-1 is not a foreign substance. It is a hormone your gut releases after eating. It communicates directly with the brain, the stomach, and the pancreas. Your body is designed to use it daily. The challenge is not a lack of GLP-1. The challenge is that modern habits interfere with how often it is released and how strongly it works. Fast meals, constant snacking, refined carbohydrates, disrupted sleep, and chronic insulin spikes all weaken this signaling pathway. Over time, the message of fullness arrives late or barely at all, even when the body has had enough food. It is important to be clear about one thing before going further. Natural methods are not drugs. They do not force the body into change, and they do not override biology. They work by supporting systems that already exist. That difference matters, especially when expectations are involved. Medications like Ozempic act directly on receptors. They deliver a strong and immediate signal. Natural approaches work in a quieter way. They rely on repeated signals over time. They strengthen communication between the gut, the brain, and blood sugar regulation instead of replacing it. Because of this, results do not appear overnight. Changes happen gradually, often without dramatic moments. This slower pace is not a weakness. It is how the body prefers to adapt. Hormones respond to patterns, not single actions. When supportive habits are repeated, the body begins to respond more reliably. Hunger signals soften. Digestion becomes more predictable. Blood sugar swings become less extreme. These changes build on each other rather than competing for attention. It is also important to avoid the idea of substitution. Natural strategies are not meant to replace prescribed treatment or medical advice. They exist to support metabolic health and improve how the body responds to food and energy. This mindset removes pressure and prevents extremes. Instead of chasing quick results, the focus stays on consistency and sustainability. Each step you are about to hear is grounded in how the body already functions. No shortcuts, no forced outcomes, just gradual support applied in the right order, one step at a time. Protein plays a powerful role in appetite control, but the effect is not only about how much protein you eat, it is also about when you eat it. Protein is one of the strongest natural triggers for GLP-1 release in the gut. When it enters the digestive system, it sends a message of fullness to the brain and slows the pace at which food moves through the stomach. This signal becomes far more effective when protein is consumed earlier in the day. In the morning and early afternoon, the body is more responsive to satiety hormones. The protein-focused first meal creates a strong neurological message that food has arrived and energy needs are being met. This message carries forward for hours, influencing how hunger is perceived later in the day. When this early signal is strong, cravings tend to soften on their own. The urge to snack decreases. Portion sizes at later meals often become smaller without deliberate control. This is not because of discipline or restriction. It happens because the brain is receiving clearer information from the gut. When protein intake is delayed until the evening, much of this effect is lost. GLP-1 release still occurs, but it does not shape the entire day. Hunger builds earlier. Blood sugar swings become more pronounced. By shifting protein earlier, the body receives a stabilizing signal before cravings take over. This approach works quietly in the background. Calorie intake often drops naturally, not through effort, but through improved hormonal timing and clearer communication between the gut and the brain. Fiber is often discussed as a single category, but its effects on appetite and hormones depend on the type. Not all fiber influences GLP-1 activity. Some fibers simply add bulk and move through the digestive system without much interaction. Others play a far more active role. These are fermentable fibers. Fermentable fiber reaches the large intestine, mostly intact. It becomes food for beneficial gut bacteria. As these bacteria break it down, they produce compounds called short-chain fatty acids. These compounds are not just byproducts of digestion. They act as chemical messengers that communicate with the gut lining and the nervous system. Short-chain fatty acids directly stimulate GLP-1 secretion. This creates a powerful gut-brain signal that enhances feelings of fullness and helps regulate appetite. The effect is gradual but meaningful. Hunger becomes less sharp. Meals feel more satisfying. The desire to keep eating after enough food has been consumed begins to fade. This process has nothing to do with counting calories or filling the stomach with volume. It is a biological interaction between gut microbes and hormones. When fermentable fiber is regularly present, the gut environment changes. GLP-1 signaling becomes more consistent and the brain receives clearer feedback about satiety. Without fermentable fiber, this pathway stays underactive, even if total fiber intake appears high. The body may feel physically full, but the hormonal signal of satisfaction remains weak, leaving appetite control incomplete. GLP-1 release does not happen instantly. It builds over time as food moves through the digestive system. This timing is critical. When meals are eaten too quickly, the body does not have enough time to release satiety hormones at full strength. The brain receives calories before it receives the signal to slow down, which leads to overeating without awareness. Slower eating allows digestion and hormonal signaling to stay aligned. As food enters the stomach gradually, GLP-1 levels rise in a more coordinated way. This creates a stronger sense of fullness during the meal rather than after it. Appetite begins to settle before portions become excessive. Meal structure also plays a role. Eating without long gaps between bites gives the gut time to respond. Simple pauses allow the nervous system to register fullness cues that are otherwise missed. This process does not rely on discipline. It relies on physiology. One reason Ozempic reduces appetite is because it slows digestion artificially. Food remains in the stomach longer, extending the time GLP-1 stays active. The body receives a prolonged fullness signal even with smaller meals. A similar effect can be supported naturally by adjusting how meals are eaten. When eating speed slows and meals are structured with intention, the digestive system works in its preferred rhythm. GLP-1 signaling becomes more effective, hunger fades earlier, and satisfaction arrives sooner without forcing the body or relying on external intervention. Sleep is often overlooked when it comes to appetite and hormone regulation, but it plays a critical role in how GLP-1 functions. Poor sleep lowers the body's natural GLP-1 response. Even a single night of disrupted or shortened sleep can make hunger signals stronger and cravings harder to resist. When the body is tired, the brain interprets this as a need for more energy, often prompting increased food intake, especially for quick digesting carbohydrates. On the other hand, good sleep improves insulin sensitivity, which directly impacts GLP-1 effectiveness. When insulin sensitivity is high, the body handles blood sugar more efficiently, preventing sharp spikes and crashes that trigger excessive hunger. GLP-1 signaling becomes stronger and more reliable. Fullness signals reach the brain clearly, and meals feel more satisfying. This is one reason why poor sleep often leads to overeating, even when the quantity of food appears normal. The hormonal communication between the gut and the brain is weakened when rest is insufficient, leaving appetite largely unregulated. Sleep also affects other hormones that influence GLP-1, cortisol and ghrelin, both sensitive to sleep patterns, can amplify hunger when elevated. By maintaining consistent, high-quality sleep, the body restores balance in these hormonal systems. Appetite becomes easier to manage naturally, energy stabilizes, and the body's ability to respond to meals improves. This connection shows that supporting GLP-1 is not only about what you eat, but also about how well you recover each night. Exercise is often associated with intense effort, sweating, and pushing limits. But when it comes to supporting GLP-1 activity, gentle movement after meals can be far more effective. It is not about burning calories quickly or building endurance. The body responds to subtle, consistent signals in ways that dramatic workouts cannot replicate immediately. Simple activities like walking after eating can have a profound effect on glucose regulation and hormone balance. Walking and light movement help the muscles absorb glucose more efficiently. When glucose is taken up smoothly, insulin spikes are smaller and more controlled. This reduction in insulin surges allows GLP-1 to function optimally. If insulin levels are constantly elevated, GLP-1 signals are less effective and appetite regulation becomes weaker. By keeping insulin responses moderate, the fullness signal from GLP-1 reaches the brain clearly, helping meals feel satisfying without requiring conscious effort or strict restriction. This approach demonstrates that biology often outweighs willpower. The timing and type of movement matter more than intensity. Even a 15 or 20-minute walk after a meal can stabilize blood sugar and enhance hormonal communication between the gut and the brain. Over time, this practice contributes to more consistent appetite control, smoother energy levels, and improved overall metabolic health. It is a small adjustment with effects that build quietly but reliably, supporting the natural processes that medications like Ozempic amplify artificially. Ozempic works by enhancing systems that your body already possesses. Systems designed to regulate hunger, digestion, and blood sugar naturally. These systems are not broken, even if modern habits have weakened their signals. The hormone GLP-1, for example, communicates between the gut, the pancreas, and the brain to control appetite and stabilize glucose levels. Ozempic amplifies this process artificially, but the underlying biology is already present in everyone. Understanding this distinction is important because it shifts the focus from trying to force results to supporting the body's natural rhythms. Supporting these systems does not require extreme measures or strict routines. It starts with small, deliberate habits that align with how your body is designed to function. Eating protein at the right times, incorporating fermentable fiber, slowing down meals, prioritizing sleep, and moving lightly after eating are all ways to reinforce these natural signals. Each action contributes to stronger hormonal responses and clearer fullness cues. Consistency is the key. When these small steps are repeated day after day, they interact with each other, producing a cumulative effect. Appetite becomes easier to manage, cravings diminish, energy stabilizes, and blood sugar regulation improves. Over time, these gradual changes create powerful metabolic effects, not by forcing the body, but by working with its natural systems and restoring balance that modern life often disrupts. If this video helped you understand how the Ozempic effect works and how to support it naturally, please give it a like. Subscribing to our channel will ensure you get more clear, evidence-based health explanations that focus on how your body really works. If you want a follow-up video that goes deeper into the best foods and strategies to safely boost GLP-1, leave a comment below. Your questions and feedback help us create the content you need. Stay consistent, support your natural systems, and take small steps each day for lasting results.